Hello folks and welcome to another episode of Quick Reviews, the show where we quickly review some video games that we have been playing in this past couple of weeks. With me today I have Vegitas.
Sup? How are you doing, man?
Terrific! And today we're gonna jump into one of my favorite fighting games of all time. It's Injustice 2.
I heard you've been playing that.
A lot. There's a lot to do in Injustice 2, which is very surprising. So you have a story mode, you have the online multiplayer, which was expected, but then you have a lot of single player stuff to do, and it's compelling because of the gear aspect that they have implemented as well. So on the single player side of things, you have something called the multiverse, where it refreshes every day. There are new challenges for you to tackle, and it's basically a sequence of the towers from Mortal Kombat, like a series of challenges. But every challenge has sort of a theme. It contextualizes the challenge in an interesting way. But the reason why I've been going to that, it's because the loot aspect of this game is actually really good. You know the itch that you get on Diablo or Destiny, where hey, the numbers go up, you're getting better loot, you're getting better looking loot. But here you're equipping Batman and Superman, and you're making those characters look cooler.
That sounds fucking awesome.
It is really awesome. And a lot of people were concerned, and I was concerned as well, about how this was gonna impact the multiplayer side of things, but they turn most of that stuff off on most of the game modes.
So it balances out?
Yeah, on ranked, like every stat on your character, it just doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Every character is a level 20, but your character customization still goes into the game visually. Some items have some ability changes. For instance, my main is Batman, so I'm gonna focus on that.
Okay.
Batman has a grapple hook, and there's a piece of equipment that I have right now where the grappling hook has a chance to cause a stage transition. That's a really strong thing, but you go to ranked and that stuff is stripped out.
It's stripped out? Okay.
Then you have 2 ability slots as well. As you level up, at level 10 you get an ability for every hero, and then there's loot boxes where you get all sorts of gear, and you may also get abilities. You have 2 ability slots per hero, and some abilities are so powerful that they take up both slots. Again, in ranked, all that stuff just is stripped out. But it's cool that you can sort of customize your character, because there's a lot of single player stuff to do, and in the multiverse, like, that gear really helps in terms of stats to take down bosses even. And bosses are the thing that I think are kind of lame in the multiverse, because it's just fight this guy with this huge health pool. They've done some interesting stuff with the guilds, where they have guild multiverses, where it's like a lot of people need to come and do this challenge during this week for the guild to complete it, and every time I open the guild menu I get hundreds of loot boxes. So there's a big incentive for being a part of the guild, because the loot aspect of this game has been really rewarding. And then we have story mode. I really liked story mode in this game, because the first Injustice, it went to parallel universes and stuff, and it was a little bit confusing at times. They recognized the rest happened, but they're not going to parallel. Yeah, but they're not going to parallel universes anymore, and they're just telling a story in this more interesting universe where Superman, you know, he isn't just a good guy. He's not that plain boring hero. He's actually a jerk, and that makes him a more interesting character. You can see him as the main antagonist. There's also Brainiac, there's also Gorilla Grodd, and there's all these different factions that interact.
There's a lot of characters on that game.
There's a lot of characters, and it does what the first Injustice did as well, which is introduce characters that are not so popular, not so mainstream. So yeah, Injustice 2, it's surprising a fighting game doing so much with single player stuff. And the netcode is great. I love the combos, the actual moment-to-moment gameplay. The gameplay changes they put in there are very interesting. I am curious though to see where NetherRealm goes next. I need to see what they do next. It's going to be very exciting, because I think this game is, it's so good. They perfected those systems.
So, what would you rank this game?
A. No questions asked.
A. No questions.
A.
No questions.
Yeah. A. No questions.
A. No. That's okay. That's a new template I need to do now. A. No questions.
A. No questions. Speaking of A. Vegitas, what have you been playing?
Hey, I've been playing Prey.
Hey, it rhymes. How's Prey treating you? How far into it are you?
I still haven't finished the game, but I think I'm pretty close.
Okay.
To the ending.
Are you expecting some big payoff in the story to happen anytime soon?
I'm hoping for a plot twist that I'm already envisioning, and if that doesn't happen, that's gonna, blow my mind away for sure.
Okay. Has the game been blowing your mind, like in terms of plot twists so far, or have you been able to see through most of it?
There are some plot twists I can see like a mile away.
Okay.
But even coming to that plot twist, there are like 6 or 7 smaller plot twists in between that it just blows my mind away. Sometimes are just little details about the world, other times are details about your character as well. I think that game, it's one of those games that none of these systems is done in particularly good way. The combat, it's it's okay, it's doable,
Right.
It's serviceable. The stealth is also serviceable. It's probably better than the combat, but it's also serviceable. It's not as spectacular stealth games. I've seen games doing this way better. Crafting, it's okay. It's not very detailed. It's simple enough, so you don't need to lose a lot of time on that crafting system. This game really shines when you add all of that together and you have a spectacular game that combines different elements from different games.
Right.
Very much like Dishonored or like Deus Ex, where none of the systems worked perfectly, but everything combined was more than a whole. The whole is more than a sum, actually. So far, I've been gathering some powers that you collect.
So that's one of the problems that I had with Dishonored, where the upgrade system was done through collectibles, that you had to explore the actual world, and that kind of killed the pacing of the storytelling. Did they do that for Prey as well?
You have blueprints, which you can collect, and there's a blueprint for Neuromods.
Oh, so you can just make them.
One game is doing the storytelling parts. It's not, spectacular.
Okay.
When the game leaves you to your will, that's where the game really shines, because that's when you try to combine different powers, when you try to explore the Talos 1 without following the quest marker, that's always present there on the screen. When you try to get away from that and try to explore what's around you, that's when the game really shines.
How do you gather materials?
There's a lot of different ways. You can find them scattered throughout the space station. Anything that's like space trash.
So they're just hanging around the space station.
But there's different kinds of materials. Like you have organic materials that come from living beings, which you can collect from mimics. You can mimics. I mean the enemies, the
defeated enemies.
The defeating enemies. You can recycle human beings if you want, and get organic material from that. You have a lot of options for you to collect the materials. They are kind of scarce anyway. So like midway through the game, I had some neuro mods, but even still, I have a lot of powers to unlock. I really like the mimics. The enemies, I think they're really cool. The fact they can mimic the space around them.
In the demo, they created like a weird horror vibe where anything could jump at you because they transform into the object.
Unless you're really focused on what you're doing. It's like if you get into a room where it has like one desk and 2 chairs, one of those chairs is for certain to be a mimic.
Right.
Which one? That's the question. And probably you're gonna try to attack one, and the other chair gonna jump at you.
Right.
And I'm really liking, the story. It's pretty much fucked up because each time you uncover a new thing, you go, oh shit, seriously? That's what's going to. This is what's happening. I'm still not certain of who I am really, and I'm almost finishing the game, I think. And there's a lot of surprises there. So yeah, it's a really cool game. It has a good atmospheric vibe.
Sounds like you're enjoying this game a whole lot. What would you score it?
I would score an A.
This is a very good episode. So going from the mainstream games to something not so mainstream, I've been playing a game called Bokida, Heartfelt Reunion, which I believe was sent to me by the devs, but I'm not sure. It was sent to me by someone. So this is a minimalistic sort of artsy game, which it still has some elements that have been reminding me of The Witness, so I've been enjoying this a lot. So I've been taking my time with this one because this game cannot be rushed. This is a game for you to play, relax. You have these huge environments, like really big, and you have all these traversal options where your character jumps up really high, he can glide, he can create cubes, sort of like Minecraft, place them anywhere, and once you create a cube, you can hit L2 to sort of attract your character to the cube. There are a lot of traversal options, but it's all sort of floaty and relaxing, and And then you have puzzles. Now, most of the puzzles that I played so far are based around the mechanics of creating cubes, cutting cubes, because you can cut them in any shape. Then you have a push ability where you can push the stuff that you cut. And then you have a clean ability where you just remove the cubes that you've created, in case you mess up. So most of the puzzles have been, here's a laser. Use your cubes to redirect the laser to another thing. So you create a cube in the path of the laser, cut it in half, and then the laser reflects in a 90-degree angle, for instance. It creates these puzzles that really take advantage of the systems they have put in place, but it doesn't explain any of it. And here's where this game kind of reminds me of The Witness. Like, the puzzles are there and you have to figure out what you have to do. By reading the environment, by seeing what's around you, you have to figure out, okay, the game wants me to do this at this time. It's relaxing. The soundtrack game is top-notch.
Cool.
It's been an experience that, you know, I put on my headphones and I've been just enjoying it a lot. I'm not too far into the game, and I'm already feeling some sort of repetition in puzzle mechanics.
Okay.
Sometimes the environments are a bit clunky to get around. Some things could be better, but I've been enjoying it in general so far. It's okay. It's okay.
So I guess, what's your score then?
It's okay. It's a C.
And we're closing now with a game we've both been playing. Wasn't not very fond of it, especially the controls. We're talking about NBA Playgrounds. It's like a crossover between NBA Jam and NBA Street Home Court.
Okay.
It feels more like Street Home Court, but you play it the same way in NBA Jam. That is the 2v2.
So I think this game is kind of serviceable, but like it fails to hit the marks that we wanted it to hit.
Main problem is focus on the multiplayer, and what you have there for single player, it's like an excuse of a single player game. You have
tournaments,
and the tournaments just unlock you more cards, so you can get more players.
Right, there's cards in this game, right?
And unlocks you new arenas.
Yeah.
And I don't see very much interest in there. I think arenas should be unlocked from the start. And getting new players, it's not what I want, at least through this system. You can open 50 packs of cards and still not get Patrick Ewing, and that's the player you really want.
And there's no way to buy him with like scrap that you get from duplicate cards, which there are duplicate cards.
Yeah,
which is something that we always say.
And those just give you extra XP for the characters you already unlocked.
Yeah, because characters level up and they get new abilities and stuff like that. What I think is most stupid is like when you nail a perfect shot, it's worth 1 more point. So if you nail like a perfect 3-pointer, it's worth 4 points. If you're the first team to score, you get a +1 point too. Like they're messing with the point system in basketball. And that was
not really necessary in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, you have the fireball, that's the thunderball. From half court, you shoot it anywhere, you take the basket. And that's okay power up. It's just good for, you know, having that quick advantage. But then you have like the shot clock variation, which just speeds up the shot clock from your opposing team and slows down yours. Overall, those are not very good power ups to have in a game. I would prefer, you know, like special passes, big jumps or something like that. Something more balanced than other team having 5 seconds to shoot while you have 30 or you have 1 minute.
And then you have like basic gameplay stuff, because you have a stamina bar and everything you do in that game consumes that whole stamina bar, and it takes a while for it to recover. Like you want to push someone, I get it, it's a very powerful ability if you hit someone. If you miss it, that's a huge penalty. Everything like the skill moves, every time you flick the right thumbstick to do a skill move, it feels like the character moves way too forward or way too far backwards.
Yeah, you totally lose control on that.
And then there's like the simple fact the timing is never what you think it is, and it's always saying like too late, too early, and like
I really don't like the controls. I think the controls are really weird. You have a weird momentum on the characters. They're sometimes sluggish and other times they're just like the Flash. Overall, I think it was a pretty big disappointment for me. It's missing the boom shakalaka.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I think this is an E. It's just like
it's not good.
No,
there's a lot of improvement there to be made.
Yeah, but what do you guys think about these scores in these games that we've talked about today? Because this is most of all a conversation between us and you. Let us know all your thoughts in the comments down below. Click the like button if you enjoyed the video. If you're listening to this on Podbean or iTunes, leave us a positive review. We would really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Fajitas.
Thanks a lot for having me once again.
See you guys next time. Bye.